Shalom, shalom, koholo, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem, Rachak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, who have taught us his truth in the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. I'm Shaquat, and I'm back with another lesson, Lord willing, is edifying to the hopeful elect. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Barakatham, to you sincere Akyam, Wa'akwath, and a sincere shalom to you brothers out here pushing this truth on the highways and the byways and through the YouTube lessons, man. Shalom to you all. Lord willing is to be edified. So as you see by the title of this lesson, it says China with a stark warning to America. China with a stark warning to America. And I'm going to be watching a video that the brother from, I don't know his name, but Saints of Jersey, he uploaded, I think it was yesterday or so. I watched it yesterday at least. And yeah, that shit is a very stark warning by China. And I want to get the definition of stark before we go to the video. And it says it right here. Stark meaning, dictionary, it says severe or bare in appearance or outline. All right. For example, the ridge formed a stark silhouette against the sky. Complete sheer. He came running back in stark terror, meaning in complete terror. All right. So the word stark truly means something that is severe. So China gave America a severe warning. All right. They gave America a complete sheer warning. You know, it was a complete warning. They told them what they would do simply, and it was severe. All right, and you're gonna see it in this video here. So let's go to it.
Breaking news coming out. We're gonna start with this one first. China warns the United States: if you want war, you will get war. If you want to destroy the Red Dragon, you will be destroyed. The Red Dragon will not fire the first shot, but the Red Dragon will not allow you to fire the second shot. Wow. It's the first time I hear the Red Dragon speaking like this towards the, again, the U.S. So let me just play this video here. We have a lot more information, but do me a favor, share, like, subscribe. Thank you again for your support.
If you want to have war, you will get war. If you want to destroy China, you will be destroyed. If you want to impose nuclear war on China, you will be wiped out by nuclear war. This is very serious. China's policy is very clear. China will not fire the first shot, but China will not allow you to fire the second shot. If you have not watched the Victory Day parade in Beijing on September the 3rd, one of the weapons China demonstrated is a missile.
Weapon so powerful it sent Trump into hiding for a couple of days. shot the nigga ego down. I'm just talking shit.
With all the warheads, we call it 61 because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus one hydrogen bomb. Now in the 61, because
so you see they got multiple of them, and that's only the few that they actually showed. This is only the few that they actually, you know, presented to the people, to the public. All right, so they have a missile called 61, where you see the Moabite explain it. They have 60 nuclear missile heads inside of it, and then one hydrogen bomb. All right, crazy work. And we know they have a whole bunch of them, and as well as many other nations, because what does the book of Revelation say concerning the matter? I'm going to show you. Oh my goodness. Revelation 9:16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. Now, what does horsemen represent in the scriptures? It represents power. And this power that it's talking about are the nuclear missiles, all right? It's talking about these nuclear missiles, man. All right, let's go up here. What's the sixth trumpet? Yeah, when they prepare for an hour, a day, and a month, and a year for the slated third part of men. Yeah, it's going into getting ready for World War III. Then right here, when you go into the 16th verse, what we just read, John the Revelator numbered what he saw these horsemen as, and he saw 200,000 horsemen. So these are talking about the nuclear warheads, to be more specific. All right. Now, when you take 200,000, I'm gonna show you just so you know I'm not lying. If you did with a simple math, take 200,000 and you multiply that by 1,000, you get 200 million. So there's going to be 200 million nuclear warheads that will be shot on America. 200 million nuclear warheads will be shot on America, Babylon the Greek. 200 million. So China has a lot more than what they showed, first and foremost. Secondly, Russia, you got North Korea, it's a lot there, but you got certain African countries, and various others, man, who are allies to Russia, to the Medes. Okay, so it's a lot, it's cooking up. So this is no shocker to see this. That's tough. 60 nuclear warheads and 1 hydrogen bomb. Brutal work. Just one of them can do a lot of damage.
Because it can contain 60 nuclear warheads plus 1 hydrogen bomb. Now, in the world of
Call hello Yahweh Bahasham us, and we be in that ship. Cause this place is Shalaka for this, brothers. Shalaka.
possibility of being intercepted and destroy
May the most it's going.
hydrogen bomb. China is the only country with hydrogen bomb. And that ICBM can cover every corner of the world in less than 20 minutes.
Wow.
Where you gonna run? Where you gonna run? This ICBM can cover every corner of the world, all 4 corners of the earth, in less than 20 minutes. Where you gonna run? Where are you gonna run? You can't run. Bitch, you can barely get across town in 20 minutes. Where you gonna go? And that's in a car. Where you gonna go on foot? Where you gonna go? You can't run. You can't run from the judgment of the Lord. You can't. Where you gonna run? That's the question. Where you gonna run, people? Yeah, America, man. The Lord is working to work on these nations, man. That's indeed true. He's working to work on these nations. I want to go to the point, because this is what I started thinking about as I was hearing this. We're going to start at the 9th verse, Joel 3:9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, the heathens, right? Prepare war. All right, so prepare war. And what does it look like they're doing? It looks like they're mighty prepared for war. Indeed they are. And it says, wake up the mighty men. Okay? Meaning your warriors, your guys that are in the military, right? Let all the men of war draw near. Let all those soldiers come near. All right, which is why it's called the Valley of Yahweh Shaphat. it's gonna say Jehoshaphat in the 12th verse, but it's really because Jehoshaphat means Jehovah's judgment, you know. But it's really in the Paleo Hebrew is Yahweh Shaphat. Yahweh Shaphat. Alright, which means Yahweh's judgment. Okay, so let them come up, and that'll be over in the east. But World War III, also, that'll be the gathering will be over there in the east, but the nukes will be shot over here to the west. It says, beat your plowshares into swords. Now, what's a plowshare?
Strong's H, 855, eighth. Eighth.
It says, of uncertain derivation, a hoe, or, which is not talking about a woman, but a hoe or other digging implement, coulter, plowshare, so something you use to dig, okay? So it's a farming tool, ultimately. Same as a pruning hook. You go into the word pruning hook, it's something like that as well.
Strong's H, 4211. Mesmerah. Mesmerah.
It says a pruning knife, right? So it's some type of knife. Some you use to, do labor. Okay, so let's read that again. It says, so let's read from the top at 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Right, your pruning hooks, so you beat your plowshares into swords, right, you're beating whatever you was using to dig, and you basically making a weapon out of it. Your pruning hook is already a knife, now you're turning it into a spear. And that's ultimately just means make those things that made you docile and turn them into weapons, because these are just farming tools ultimately, and now they're being turned and used for weapons. But it's it's the spirit. Now, does that mean they're gonna literally take a plowshare, the pruning hook, and no? It just basically means they're gonna pick up the sword and they're gonna get busy. It's time for war. And it says, let the weak. What does it mean when it say let the weak? These nations. All right, every nation once cowered to America. Every nation at a point in time bowed to America. I don't care what they have to say. You bow to America at a point in time. So it says, let the weak say, I am strong. And China was nothing to America many years back. It was never like super lowly, but they come on, compared to America, they wasn't shit. Now they the shit. Now they the shit. Who the fuck was talking about Russia? 100, 200 years ago. Now they the shit. When things like that, man, you got even America trying to go in and take over Venezuela, because Venezuela got nukes too. So they're trying to go in and take over Venezuela. In Venezuela, they're guarding their oil plants, their oil reserves, because they have a lot of oil, which oil is good for gas, right? So America trying to go conquer that, but they're protected by the Medes and China. We could put China in there as well. But yes, so Salakia. So it says, let the weak say I am strong. and then they are indeed strong now. Do we gotta go back to the video? Hell, let's go to the September 11th event. September something, 3rd. China showing off military. Fair use is under the Fair Use Copyrights Act of 1976, where all public information can be used for educational purposes only. Fair use, fair use. I personally do not condone any violence.
China's President Xi Jinping with a grand show of force,
中华民族
marking 80 years since the end of World War II with its biggest ever military parade. We were there as the crowd of more than 50,000 waved Chinese flags cheering as thousands of soldiers marched in perfect unison. Several hundred ground weapon systems on display, over 100 aircraft, and jets ripping through the sky above Tiananmen Square. The guests of honor, Russian President Vladimir Putin and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un with Xi together for the first time, watching over the parade from the balcony.
The crowd is clapping as Xi Jinping is flanked by Putin and Kim just over there in an extraordinary show of unity.
And for Xi, a chance to unveil his country's newest military hardware to the world.
We're seeing hypersonic missiles, stealth fighters, drones. This is about Chinese President Xi Jinping showing that his military is modern, that it's advanced and ready for combat.
President Trump's tariffs putting a strain on relations with China, Trump lashing out on social media, accusing Xi of conspiring against the US, saying, "Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America."
Now, the Kremlin has...
And they are conspiring against the U.S. Nobody fucks with America anymore. All the nations hate America. They hate America. That's why they're coming together now. And they're trying to, get ready to overthrow you.
Rejected any accusations that it's conspiring against the United States, but they also...
So you get the point, though. They ain't so weak no more, as you can see. And this is them saying it. And you saw the unity between Putin, Xi Jinping, I believe is how you say it, and what's that nigga name? What's that nigga from the fucking North Korea name? Kim Jong-un, right? So there you have it. You go to, let's see, the North Country. Let's type in the North Country. Should be in Jeremiah. So I'm going to start at verse 1, prophecy against Babylon, Jeremiah 50:1. The word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet. Declare ye among the nations, and publish, and set up a standard. All right, so this is declared among the nations. And conceal not, say Babylon is taken. Who is Babylon today? What is Babylon talking about? America. Baal is confounded. Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded. Her images are broken in pieces. For out of the north, all right, there cometh up a nation against her. All right, against who? Babylon. All right, America. Which shall make her land desolate. All right, what does it mean for a land to be desolate? It's going to be empty, dead, destroyed, and none shall dwell therein. That's how you know it's talking about America. This is another thing that's spoken of in Isaiah 34. All right, America that's not going to be dwelt in again except by desert creatures, right? They shall remove, they shall depart, both man and beast, all right? Because they're going to be completely destroyed. All right, even beasts here are going to be completely destroyed. But after that, it's going to be desert creatures that dwell there, like dragons and shit like that, Then it's going into us, it goes into us a little bit, but I want to skip back to the point. And then in verse 8 it says, remove out of the midst of Babylon, and go forth out of the land of the Chaldeans, and be as the he-goats before the flock. So that's what we commanded to be, he-goats, which means a leader. All right, so that's what us men, you know, if you consider yourself a brother or a man of Yahweh Shai, you got to be, carry yourself as a he-goat, as a leader. All right, for the elect's sake, for the, you know, the ministry's sake, for the sake of the flock, because they need a leader. For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, America, an assembly of great nations from the north country. So this is going to be an assembly of great nations from the north country. So and this is talking about mainly Russia, you know, the Medes. You go to Ezekiel 38. I want to show you something. World. Okay. World map. So here you have the world map. Now, this north country is talking about, so you see where America is located, right? Russia is in the north. So when you come over here, this north country, there's Russia. So that's talking about Russia. But what does the scripture say before we go back to it? It says, for lo, I will raise a cause to come up against Babylon. I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon, an assembly of great nations from the north country. So it's going to be assembly of great nations, but it's going to start with the north country. That north country is talking about Russia. Go read the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter. Okay, that north country is talking about over here in Russia, right? So who also is joined unto them? Who else is joined unto that north country? Well, you said it, because Russia is technically part of Asia. So so Russia is really that north country, but it says nations. Let's read that one more time. It says assembly of great nations from the north country. So it's going to start with Russia, but they all going to ultimately be assembled with them. It's going to be multiple nations, and there's going to be great mighty nations. So you can also lump in two other nations, what you just seen in the video, with the north country, because all of this essentially is Asia. All of this is Asia, essentially. Okay? You know what I mean? So all of this is technically Asia, right? But you see, right here, you have China, and then right over here, you have North Korea. So Kim Jong-un, this whole thing was taking place. Salakia, this is Satan. This whole thing was taking place over Satan. Satan. Over here in China, right? And then Putin, Vladimir Putin was there as well. So you see what this is talking about. You got a lot of these nations over here are joined to the BRICS, like India. India is a part of the BRICS. That's a great nation, right? You see it right over here. You got certain African countries, especially starting with South Africa, because South Africa is what makes up the acronym for that word, for the letter S in the BRICS. Right? You have other African nations that are also joined unto them, right? You know, and et cetera, man, and et cetera, you know. So, let's go back to the precepts. So we know who these great nations from the north country are. All right, and it says, and they shall set themselves in array against her, who? Babylon, the great America. From thence she shall be taken. Their arrows shall be as of a mighty expert man. None shall return in vain. Now, what are these arrows talking about? These arrows are talking about the nuclear missiles that are going to be shot over there. All right, that's what these arrows essentially are talking about. All right, the nuclear warheads. All right, and when they get shot, they're not going to return in vain. Meaning they're going to, when they're shot off, they're going to land. They're going to land. And you see many precepts that go into this. When these nukes get shot, they indeed are going to land. All right, nothing's going to make it return void. All right, so no matter what type of defense system Esau tries to set up over here or whatever, when these nukes are shot, Yahweh, like the scriptures say, Yahweh will be in the midst of those nukes. So they're going to go to its destination and it's going to land. And I'm going to show you that precept for that, showing you it will indeed land. These nations are not playing with you no more. The Lord is done fucking with you. So now I suggest you read this whole chapter concerning it, but I'm going to jump to the point. Joel 2 and 7. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one of his ways. And they shall not break their ranks. These are talking about the nuclear warheads. Neither shall one thrust another, so they're not going to bump into each other. They shall walk every one in his path. And when they fall upon, so this is talking about what you call it, the GPS tracking system. All right, it's talking about the GPS tracking system. They're not gonna break their ranks. They're not gonna bump into each other. They're gonna make it to their destination. All right, that's how you got your GPS. All right. I bet you didn't know the GPS tracking system was in the Bible, huh? Anyway, that's what it meant in verse 7. All right, and it says, neither shall they thrust one another, and they shall walk everyone in his path. And when they fall upon the sword, meaning upon whatever defense mechanism Esau has, or whenever they try to shoot it out there or whatever, when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. They're not going to be wounded. All right, so they're not going to return void when they're shot. Nothing's going to stop them. All right, let me get one more for you. Out of the book of 2nd Esdras, or is that chapter 16? I'm gonna cherry pick verses, with the point being at 16 or 13. So I'll do 2nd Esdras chapter 16 and verse 3. It says, "The sword is sent upon you. Who may turn it back?" So who can turn back a sword that is sent to them? You can't. You absolutely can't. All right. It says, "A fire is sent among you. Who may quench it?" And this is all talking about destruction. All right. This is talking about destruction to America. Okay. Because the first verse says, "Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria." Woe. Woe be to you. All right. Woe. Now, is this just talking about the war, nuclear war? No, it's also talking about the time of Jacob's trouble. So it's talking about Jacob going through it as well. But yeah, we jump down. It says in verse 7, "May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer?" No, you can't. Once that arrow leaves that bow, you got an archer with a bow and arrow. He cocks back the bow to shoot the arrow. Once he lets go of that bow, and the resistance is finally taken off that strap, and the arrow is shot out of the quiver of the bow, it's through. He can't stop the arrow. It's going to go into its destination. Right? And it says, we jump down to the point that I want to get in verse 13. It says, "For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow. His arrows," which are these nukes, "that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot in the ends of the world." In the ends of the world. So when they get shot in the ends of the world, which when you go to this map again, I'm going to zoom out here. The world starts over here in the east. Over here in the east. So if you keep going west to west to west to west to west, you'll eventually get to the Americas, right? To the continent of North America. Now, what happens, right? What happens when you keep going west? When you keep going west, 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 you're gonna end up being right back over here in the east. All right, you're gonna start from the Pacific Ocean, go, and you're gonna end right back up in the Pacific Ocean, which is right back over here. Okay. So that when it says getting shot to the ends of the world, that's talking about America. All right, that's talking about America, man. The ends of the world. All right. So there you have it. And that's how you know Esau gonna be ruling. Yeah, I'll leave that one. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know what this is. Forgive me. The Dukes will not miss. Indeed, they won't. And there's other precepts going into that, man. So Lord willing, hold on. I want this damn shit to go off. Forgive me. Anyway, so Lord willing, that was edifying to the hopeful elect out there, all right, and exhorting, all right. China and these other nations are not playing. You know, they're dead serious. They mean business. And the Lord is definitely working on their minds to come in war against America. You know, America is losing allies by the day. Hell, they're even not even just America, the victims, the so-called victims, right? I think our brother said victim hats, but those people over there in our land, right? Yeah, the UN, when they were at the UN meeting, Ned and not a you know who was up in that meeting talking about how Israel needs to finish the job. We need to finish their job in the GAZA. We got to finish the job, right? So, with him saying that, the nation started they were pissed, and they started walking out the room on his ass. Niggas started walking out on his ass. Go watch that UN meeting. Niggas was walking out on that nigga, man. Nigga, these nations, even your own allies have no respect for you. Even your own allies. And I'm talking about, this is towards America and those victims, those so-called victims, those professional victims. That's what I'm going to call them, the professional victims. Y'all allies are against you now. And that's prophecy too. I'm going to end with this scripture. Matter of fact, let's go to Revelation, the 17th chapter and the 16th verse, right? We're going to end with this. Revelation 17 and 16 and the 10 horns. Now, what are the 10 horns? The 10 horns are the EU, the European nations, right? Which thou sawest upon the beast. All right, the beast is made up of 7 horns. 7 heads and 10 horns. The 7 heads being the NATO nations, right? So it says, in the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. Now, who's the whore that's in the midst of the beast? It's America, Babylon the Great. And shall make her desolate and naked, right? Because she's going to be made desolate and naked, meaning she's going to be assed out. Like it just said, desolate and naked, duh. But she's not going to have any allies. Everybody, even of her own alliance, is going to turn on America and going to turn on those professional victims, right? And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Now, what are they going to eat her flesh with? What is the thing that is the best at consuming flesh? Fire. See, anybody with a 3rd degree burn, 2nd degree burn, 1st degree burn, it's pretty bad, regardless of what degree it is. It's pretty fucking bad, right? It literally eats your flesh away, all right? And it makes it to where you can't even grow it back. That's what's going to happen to America. Because remember, the scripture said in Jeremiah 51, take balm for her pain, because if she would have been healed, right, she won't be healed, roughly paraphrasing. America's not going to be healed again. It's not going to happen. They're not going to be healed this time around. The Roman Empire is going to fall completely, right? It's lucky. But yeah. So her own allies are going to turn on her and shoot nukes. Their own allies are going to turn and shoot nukes on America and its professional victims. That's where the nukes are going to be shot. Even by their own allies. Look at that. And like I said, their allies have no respect for America no more, because America has made its words stout against its fellows. Same with the professional victims. Just know, when I say America, I'm also talking about the professional victims. I'm not just talking about just America when I say it. I'm talking about America and the professional victims. You know what I'm talking about when I say that. You know, those people who wear those you-know-whats on the tippity top of their heads, right? Like weirdos. Anyway, so, yeah, Lord willing, this was edifying. I'm going to just end it there, all right? Call hello, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Akakwarash, divine honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone who have taught us his truth, and the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And until next time, Abba Bo, Kwame Asherella, Gadol Abadium, Lavabo, Hagadol, Yahweh Mahar, Wa Habatham, and until next time, Shalom.